Listen to the sound of your own breath for a second. Now, think about your heart. Right now, as you sit or stand, it's a pump working in the dark. It's a 10-ounce muscle, the size of your fist, pushing 5 liters of blood through 60,000 miles of vessels. Most people treat their heart like a black box. They ignore it until it hurts. They wait for a warning light that often never comes. But what if I told you there's a secret language your heart speaks? A language not of words, but of signals. And the most powerful signal you can send it isn't a complex drug or a grueling marathon. It's the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other. You've heard it before. Walking is good for you. It sounds like a cliche. It sounds boring. But today we're going to look at walking through the eyes of a cardiologist. We're going to peel back the skin, look inside the arteries, and watch the chemistry change in real time, from the Nobel Prize-winning molecule released in your veins to the step count myth that has been misleading you for years. This isn't just a walk. It's a biological maintenance cycle that starts within the first 60 seconds. If you've ever wondered why your doctor insists on those daily steps, stay with me. By the end of this, you will never look at a simple stroll around the block the same way again. Let's start the clock. Minute 0. You stand up. Your body has been in energy-saving mode. Your heart rate is steady, perhaps 60 or 70 beats per minute. Your blood is pooling slightly in your lower extremities. The moment you take your first 10 steps, a cascade begins. Your large leg muscles, the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings, demand fuel. They need adenosine triphosphate. They need oxygen. Your nervous system senses this instantly. It flips a switch from the parasympathetic, rest and digest, toward a mild sympathetic state. But here's what a cardiologist notices. Your heart doesn't just beat faster, it beats smarter. The stroke volume, the amount of blood ejected with each pump, increases. Your heart is stretching slightly, then snapping back like a powerful rubber band. This is called the Frank Starling law. It's your heart's way of saying, I'm ready for the task. At the same time, your brain releases a tiny dose of anticipatory neurochemicals. You aren't even out of your driveway yet, and your internal power grid is already being upgraded. Now, we enter the zone of the smart lining. If your heart is the engine, your blood vessels are the highway. But these aren't static plastic pipes. They are lined with a single delicate layer of cells called the endothelium. Think of the endothelium as a silk coating that is highly sensitive to friction. As you walk, your blood flow speeds up. This creates something scientists call shear stress. Don't let the word stress fool you. This is the best kind of stress there is. As the blood brushes against the endothelium, it triggers a miracle of chemistry. The cells begin to produce nitric oxide, NO. In 1998, the Nobel Prize was awarded for the discovery of this molecule. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It tells the smooth muscle around your arteries to relax. The lanes on your highway widen. Your blood pressure, which might have been spiked from a stressful morning, begins to drift downward. A cardiologist looks at this and sees arterial compliance. This means your vessels are becoming springy, elastic, and youthful. Stiff pipes lead to heart failure. Flexible pipes lead to longevity. And all it took was 10 minutes of movement. Let's pause and talk about the number that's been haunting your fitness tracker. 10,000. Where did it come from? A laboratory? A clinical trial? No. It came from a 1965 marketing campaign in Japan for a pedometer called the Manpo K. It literally translates to 10,000 step meter. It was a marketing slogan, not a medical requirement. For decades, people felt like if they didn't hit 10,000, they failed. But in 2023, the Journal of the American College of Cardiology published a meta-analysis that changed everything. They analyzed data from over 111,000 individuals. Here is the real science. At 2,517 steps, your risk of dying from any cause starts to drop significantly. At 2,735 steps, your risk of a cardiovascular event, like a heart attack, begins to plummet, the sweet spot. For heart disease, the maximum benefit peaks at around 7,126 steps. This is a game changer. It means you don't need to be an athlete. You don't need to spend 3 hours at the gym. The curve of benefit is non-linear. The biggest leap in health happens between 2,000 and 7,000 steps. If you are currently sedentary, just adding 1,000 steps, a 10-minute walk, can reduce your risk of death by double digits. Your heart doesn't care about marketing slogans. It cares about the minimum effective dose. Now, let's talk about timing. When is the most cardiologist-approved time to walk? The answer is after you eat. Imagine your bloodstream after a meal. Glucose, sugar, and fats are flooding into your system. It's like a massive shipment of delivery trucks arriving at a warehouse loading dock all at once. If the warehouse staff, your muscles, are sleeping, the trucks just sit there. The loading dock gets congested. This congestion causes inflammation. It causes insulin resistance. Over years, these sugar spikes act like sandpaper on the inside of your arteries. But when you walk for just 15 minutes after a meal, the staff shows up for work. Your muscles vacuum up the glucose without needing extra insulin. Studies show that post-meal walking can reduce glucose spikes by up to 30%. For a cardiologist, this is silent medicine. You are preventing the damage before it happens. You are keeping the sandpaper away from your delicate vessel walls. Let's take a breath. If this is the first time you're hearing the actual science behind your steps, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that science-based health matters. Comment below. Are you a morning walker or a post-dinner walker? Let's see which routine is more popular. And subscribe. We're on a mission to break down the most complex medical data into tools you can actually use. Now, let's go deeper. Let's talk about what happens when you do this every day for a month. A common question in the clinic is, does it count if I only walk on Saturdays? We used to think the answer was no. We were wrong. A massive study in JAMA Network Open looked at weekend warriors, people who hit 8,000 steps only 1 or 2 days a week. The results were shocking. Even walking just 1 or 2 days a week was associated with a 15% lower risk of all-cause mortality. Now, don't get me wrong, daily is better. But the heart is incredibly forgiving. It rewards any effort you give it. If you are a busy parent, a stressed executive, or a caregiver, and you can only manage a long walk on Sundays, take it. Your heart will still use that signal to repair itself. If you make walking a habit, your heart undergoes a physical transformation. This is called physiological cardiac remodeling. Mitochondrial power. Inside your heart cells, the power plants, mitochondria, become more efficient. They produce more energy with less waste. Stroke volume. Your heart becomes a more effective pump. It doesn't need to beat as often. This is why a resting heart rate of 50 or 60 is often a sign of a very healthy heart. It means the heart is so powerful it can rest while it's working. Vagal tone. Walking strengthens the vagus nerve. This is the brake pedal for your stress. People who walk daily have a higher heart rate variability, HRV. This is a fancy way of saying their heart can switch from stress to relax instantly. A cardiologist looks at a daily walker and sees a resilient system, a system that can handle a surprise stressor, like a sudden argument or a physical strain, without breaking. Is running better for your heart? In terms of intensity, yes, but in terms of sustainability and longevity, walking often wins. Running creates high shear stress and high impact stress. For some people with underlying issues, extreme running can actually cause temporary myocardial stunning. Walking, however, provides the sweet spot. It's enough stress to trigger adaptation, but not enough to cause damage. For blood pressure management, multiple studies have shown that walking is just as effective as running when the total energy expenditure is the same. You don't have to suffer to save your life. Total steps are the volume. Cadence, speed is the intensity. The 2023 JACC study found that brisk walking, around 80 to 100 steps per minute, added an extra layer of protection. Why? Because it forces the heart to work at a slightly higher percentage of its capacity. Think of it like high-intensity interval training for your vessels. But here is the cardiologist's advice. Volume first. Intensity second. Get the steps in first. Don't worry about being fast. Once 7,000 steps feels easy, then try to walk like you're slightly late for a meeting. That extra huff and puff is the sound of your heart getting an upgrade. Before we conclude, we must talk about safety. Even though walking is medicine, every medicine has a dosage. If you haven't moved in years, don't try to hit 8,000 steps today. Start with 2,000. Add 500 steps every week. And listen for the check engine light. If you feel pressure in your chest that feels like an elephant sitting on you, pain that radiates to your jaw or left arm, dizziness that makes the world spin, shortness of breath that feels like you're drowning, these are not no pain, no gain moments. These are stop and call a doctor moments. A cardiologist's goal is to keep you walking for the next 40 years, not the next 40 minutes. So, what does a cardiologist see when you walk? They don't see a person trying to lose weight. They don't see someone counting steps. They see a living, breathing miracle engaging in a conversation with its own biology. They see nitric oxide flooding the arteries. They see the heart muscle becoming more economical. They see blood sugar being managed without a single pill. They see a person who is taking the highway system of their body and performing a high-level maintenance cycle. Your heart is not waiting to fail. It is waiting for you to lead. It is responding to every signal you send it. When you sit for 8 hours, you are sending a signal of stagnation. When you walk for 30 minutes, you are sending a signal of vitality. The research is clear. The numbers are in. You don't need perfection. You don't even need 10,000 steps. You just need to start. If you walk 30 minutes today, your heart will be newer than it was yesterday. It's that simple. What was the one thing in this video that surprised you the most? Was it the 7,126 sweet spot? Was it the nitric oxide Nobel Prize? Or was it the weekend warrior finding? Tell me in the comments. I read as many as I can to help plan our next deep dive. And if you want to know what happens to your heart when you combine walking with magnesium, watch this video next. Your heart needs the spark and the movement to be truly resilient. Go put on your shoes. Your heart is waiting. I'll see you in the next one.